Hi, welcome to the video. My name's Dychronic, and today, taking a look at the Xur, his location, random rolls, my recommendations for October 21st, 2021. Obviously, 22. The Xur can be found on the EDZ. Just head over to the Winding Cove, and right here on top of this cliff, right next to the edge of this, precipice, you can find the Xur. You didn't see me, but I gave you the eyebrows. Precipice. This is a high overview, because this is all you cared about. And right before I get into it, I just wanted to mention that the Destiny 2 DLCs are on sale right now. Obviously not Lightfall, but the previous DLCs are on sale. And if you do want to get it on Steam, I would actually appreciate it if you get it on my Nexus, link down in the description down below, where you pay the same price as Steam for a Steam key, but more of that goes towards Bungie, and some of that to me as a content creator. So if you're going to pay that money anyways, might as well pick it up on Nexus. Which, by the way, I've been working with Nexus for like 2 years now, so they are totally safe and secure. Anyways, moving on, let's go ahead and take... Who is moaning out here? Somebody's getting shot. It's me. Okay, I'm getting shot. I'm like, what are these noises? Just not dying at all. Moving on to the weapon today, we have the Arbalest, one of the more popular options in the game. Wow, look at that fat Arbalest right there. Especially whenever there's champions available, this thing is really nice to kill barrier champions, but it also does a lot more damage with Disruption Break, which allows you to do more damage with kinetic weapons, which usually Disruption Break is only on energy weapons. This is a very unique one that has it on a kinetic. And of course, obviously, this is going to be the kinetic counterpart to Ariana's, which is more of the energy version for barrier rounds. And in Crucible, you may have some use for it, but you're probably better off with Lorenz Driver in the Crucible. Up next for the Hunter exotic, we have the Frosties, where you're increasing your grenade, melee, and dodge regeneration while you're sprinting. And I believe this is a very high amount of regeneration. I think it increases all those skills by like 50, but you're not sprinting all the time. And furthermore, your dodge increases your sprint speed. Overall, it's not a bad exotic. It is actually good, but there are better options. As far as this exotic goes, you want to see a lot of mobility, discipline, and strength. You do have mobility and strength, but not a lot of discipline. But to be fair, Hunters don't exactly have the best grenade combination. And furthermore, the total stats of 67 is well above average. I'd actually say this is an okay roll. Following that, for the Titan exotic, we have the Ursa Furiosa, which, by the way, you can make it have a little polar bear instead of a grizzly bear. Probably one of the better exotics in the game. You move faster while guarding with Sentinel, not really important, and guarded damage converts to super energy when the super ends. So you basically block damage, and you get up to half your super after the super ends, which is incredibly powerful for doing extra damage with the Banner Shield, which is the highest damage bonus from a player damage buff. And also, you defend your teammates and create tons of orbs, incredibly useful for Grandmasters. Although I will say, outside of those situations, it's not super fun or interesting. You're not going to see it that often. It is definitely a high-level play only kind of thing. As far as the role goes, I guess you'd like to see a lot of intellect, although personally I feel that more than 3 or tier 3 in intellect is not really worth much. If you look at the scale of how much you gain from each of the levels, I feel points are usually better used in other places. Outside of that, it's more of a PvE exotic, so you'd like to see a lot more resilience and recovery, and it doesn't really have anything you'd want, and total stats of 62 is slightly below the average you want, so I wouldn't personally recommend it, but if you don't have one, pick it up. Following that, for the Warlock exotic, we have the Karnstein Armlets, where melee kills instantly restore a large amount of health, I think around half of your health and shields, and continue to restore health afterwards for around 8 seconds, which is around a rift recovery speed, which is something that's really valuable, especially in melee range. It might be able to make the difference between staying alive from another melee or not. And honestly, this is a good option. The one downside is that melees are not really as good as they used to be on Warlock. It used to be that there's a bunch of melees like Celestial Fire that were absolutely cracked. And because this depends on having good melees, that may not work for you. As far as the role goes, you'd probably like to see a lot of strength, which it has absolutely none. You'd like to see a very low mobility, because you may want to use it on Solar with Icarus Dash, and probably a lot more recovery and resilience. So definitely not a good role for this, but if 67 total, if it works with your build and it gives you a lot of stats, it may work. Up next, let's take a look at the new legendary weapons. First up, Chromrush, one of the more popular options in the game. 720s are super popular, and this particular item has incredible rolls and really good stats on it, although this particular one is not amazing. Following that, we have a Whispering Slab, one of my favorite bows, definitely for kinetic slot. Nice lightweight bow, pretty easy to get, and this roll is not really that amazing. There definitely are better options. Following that, Grid Skipper, another amazing weapon. I use this all the time, and this one has Frenzy Tunnel Vision range on it. Although I don't like the mag or the barrel, this is a pretty darn good roll. So if you like 540s like Peace of Mind, I would highly recommend this one, because I really do like my peace of mind. After that, we have the True Teller, which is an auto-loading holster demolitionist. I believe this can have auto-loading holster plus something else that's better, and then of course spike grenades, but Auto-loading and demo are really good to have on this weapon, and handling is also pretty good as well. So again, if you like these kind of grenade launchers, this is a pretty good option. Following that, we have a rapid fire frame punching out, Fitting Frenzy Unrelenting. Never found this one to be that good, and this obviously rapid fires on sidearms, never really found to be good either, so I don't really like it. Following that, we have 7 Sarah Saw, which can work with Warmind cells if anybody still uses Warminds. Auto-loading and Vorpal, obviously very good for a heavy weapon, although obviously heavy machine guns are not really DPS option. And of course, we have the Frozen Orbit, which is a moving target opening shot, which obviously this does have the potential of having snapshot on it, but this is a pretty darn good combination on a sniper. Has some range stuff, and the rest of it has a recoil direction if that matters. Not a bad roll. I'd say it's pretty good, but definitely usually needs snapshot. But maybe you're using Dragon Shadow or Ophidians and you have aim down sight speed enough. Following that, let's take a look at the legendary armors. First up, we have this one, which is 59. Just wanted to check real quick. Does not have a shader for you to dismantle for. 59 with mobility discipline, not really amazing. 62 is okay. High resilience and recovery and intellect, pretty darn good. 62 with mobility recovery discipline, which is okay. And of course, this last one, resilience recovery discipline, probably one of the better ones. I personally like to see, resilience, recovery, and discipline are my favorite perks, or at least my favorite stats on most armor sets. Following that, let's take a look at the exotic options. First up, for the Hawkmoon, has a hip fire grip. Rule on Hawkmoon, at least in my opinion, is that you want rangefinder here, and you want one of these two to give you recoil direction, maxing out the recoil at 100. It does have the recoil direction, but it does not have rangefinder. As for the other option, DMT, my rule with this is that you want one recoil direction, which gives you plus 10 up to 99, which it has, and of course moving target or Vorpal. And obviously it did get nerfed this season, it's not as good as it was before, but very close to the top 10, still an excellent weapon. Beyond that, the stats are up to you. And finally, any exotic engram you ever receive will give you something you've never received before and or a high stat roll. So, Carnage Team Armlets, wow, look at that. It is a 62 roll, not particularly interesting to me though. Oh, hey, look, I got another one. If you have extra exotic ciphers, I would recommend using them on the archive first, but any extras you can also use here at the Xur. And this one is a 60. Wow. Wow. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Mom and Dad, Monday, Sue Buckland, Junior Panther, Case Reagan, Marcus Glover, for their support on Patreon. And that's it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.